Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Patcast. I'm Pat Monahan. Welcome back. This week has found me once again spending time in Los Angeles with my friend and colleague Butch Walker. As we work on more new music for all of you lovely people, we had a couple of shows too. We played for a convention of BMW dealers, and they showed us the brand new BMW electric car. If you have $150,000, or even just $40,000 for the smaller, awesome version, you got to get one. It's pretty cool. 96 miles to the gallon. We went to Arizona, and we just played a festival in Phoenix called Liquid Soul. And thanks to everybody who came out for that. That was a really awesome time. This week's podcast is an old friend of mine. His name is Michael Jude Christadal. But on stage, he has always just been known as Jude. Jude's career in music has been complicated. And I've been meaning to sit down with him for a talk for a long, long time. I've been wanting to introduce him to all of you guys as well who listen to this podcast regularly, as I think he is one of the most interesting guys and with one of the most interesting stories about the music business and in the music business. It's complicated and can give you some insight into how difficult it can really be to navigate yourself through the music industry. It's a confusing place to try to make a life, and Jude has had some serious ups and downs over the course of his career. For any of you who might not know, most musicians playing professionally end up having a team around them who support their work, and that team generally consists of a manager or two or three who help guide the bigger picture of an artist's career, a booking agent who arranges contracts for the live shows, and a label which controls distribution and marketing of the recorded music, and then sometimes people have a lawyer. When people start finding out about a new artist, sometimes the buzz can stir up a lot of activity within the A&R department of a label. A&R people are the ones who bring artists in to sign record deals and then act as a liaison between the artist and the label as they write and record an album. A lot of A&R people found out about Jude, and a bidding war erupted. The label Jude ended up with is a big part of his story, and he tells that story. He's very frank about it, about both the good and the bad parts. Jude is still writing and recording, and a lot of his work is now in writing music for television. He's also planning on releasing an EP soon, and at the end of this podcast, we'll give you a link to his website so that you can check out more about him and find out more about that EP. I first met Jude because he toured with us when we were out with Better Than Ezra. So it was Better Than Ezra, Train, and Jude, and we became friends at that time. His music was really starting to take off. He continued to have some success for a while, but ultimately he ended up in a spiral as his team started to come apart around him. The label, his management, and his lawyer all made it difficult for him to find the right path, and he was lucky to get out of that spiral, but it hasn't been easy for him, as I'm sure a lot of artists have found the same road. I hadn't seen him in a really long time, but me and Jerry and Pergo were able to find some time to sit down with him a few weeks back in LA. I think you might have seen the picture of him on the Instagram that I sent out when I gave him a Patcast hat and shirt, and then I made him jump up like he was actually really happy about it. It was one of my favorite pictures ever. So this week, let me introduce you to my friend, and a lovely person and a great artist, Jude, right here on the Patcast.
What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you. You got to get it while the getting is good. Laugh when you can, cry when you should. You got to give it till the giving is gone. Do what you can, then you move on. What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking. What do you do? What do you do when nobody's looking? Nobody's looking, looking at you.
How can you say everything's fine? I've read the pillows you're lying. All I need now is a time machine. I'll go and open up your heart to me again. I'll hold the hands of time until you still hold mine. I'll build a time machine and we'll go back to when you called my name and jump around just 'cause I came back in town. Where have you gone? I forget that part. Ba-bum-bum, bum-bum-bum-bum, a-bum-bum-bum. For some reason I thought I'd change the chorus, so it's like I will fly now like some superhero guy. I'll take you up, up and away from where we are. We'll make one final great escape. I'll wrap you all inside my cape. I'll be a Superman and catch your shooting stars up in the sky. Don't you fall down. I need your shine on the ground. Anyway, that's why I stopped writing.
I'm here right now with, I got to tell you, you're the Burt Bacharach of our generation, and I feel like I can't wait till people get to hear this podcast because... Anyway, I'm here with Jude. Jude was...
that is way too
So
kind.
let me just go back to history of where I met you, and then we can talk about your kind of amazing journey. Because it is a really cool one, no matter how you look at it. I admire it. But so
Thank you,
years ago, it was like 1998 maybe, and Jerry Becker, who's here with us, he... was our tour manager, and as I've mentioned on podcasts before, the worst tour manager that ever lived.
You know what? I'm not going to dispute that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to dispute that.
He was the undisputed heavyweight terrible.
I took pride.
That's not true because I tour managed my gang for a little while.
Oh, you did? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we were out in a van and a trailer.
Yeah.
And we had this cool opportunity to support Better Than Ezra.
Right.
And you were supporting Better Than Ezra as well in a van and trailer, and they had a bus, and we were all like, damn.
Right.
But we became friends then and actually have hung out and seen each other, do some really interesting, weird, cool stuff, and also had, terrible times. And so here we are finally in Silver Lake, still the cool part of Los Angeles, and we get to hang out with Jude today in his place.
I don't know about all that, but I think anyway, yeah, meeting you was one of the great things of my performing career because if you listen to the podcast, Pat is literally one of the funniest people on the planet, and you don't know that until you meet him, and you're...
No, you're right.
And,
no, you're definitely
exactly.
right.
And his dry sense of humor is so fucking fantastic, and I really used to look forward to it. It's one of the things I miss about performing.
Good. Well, I'm going to be... I got plenty of it for you today and for the rest of your life. I want to go back to the beginning so people can... I want to remind myself, but also...
Sure. That's a leaf blower across the street.
No, leaf blowers
We're in
are
Los
great.
Angeles.
Yeah, that's not going to go away.
It's all part of the...
I want to get people into who you are. So you're from Boston originally.
I am from Boston originally.
You moved to LA.
I have to preface this. I don't do this anymore. I haven't done an interview in probably 5 or 6 years. My last shows were probably in 2007 and 2008.
Okay, well, this is
France,
the beginning of a whirlwind of awesomeness.
So I'm just saying, A, I'm out of practice. B, I might be long-winded. And, it just seems like another life now.
Well, open up to the next level because we're about to go through some of your booze. And we're
that's not a bad idea. Is it afternoon? Yeah. I started, I shouldn't,
You shouldn't, but you should. That's all I'm saying.
No, I know podcasts. You talk. I drank a lot this holiday, as I do some holidays, and I got sick, and so I've been on a couple rounds of antibiotics and haven't had a drink now in a couple weeks. So when you say that, it gets it gets exciting.
You can feel it.
It gets exciting, and it's afternoon, so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, anytime you feel like
because what I like to do
away.
is take my immune system and just bring it down.
Yeah,
hard. You know what I mean? Hard. And that's
Well, you
how I
thought
like.
the last song was sad.
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, do you-
that you just sang. Wait till the one after you're hammered tonight.
Yeah, no, there's no getting hammered today.
So,
No, the last song wasn't set. Was that? Yeah. I
so
guess it
one
was.
of the things that I remember, because when we left,
Yeah.
that first tour, I found out, and I wouldn't have found out from you because you would have never told me, but there was a really big bidding war, or a lot of people that were interested in signing you, and you decided to go with Maverick. Is this accurate?
That
Like
is-
there were several other like what you like. I'm not the only one who thinks that you're a gifted. Like, I mean,
I was a gifted young songwriter.
Bert
now
must have been an inspiration for you, right?
yeah, I mean, the
because
thing
you-
I just played you, I guess, is pretty Bacharach-y.
But like a lot of your lyrics are so weird, but in the best way.
I'm into Hal David and Johnny Mercer and guys like that.
Johnny
I admire
Mercer,
them.
man,
So
that's
I mean,
amazing.
I think I grew up.
Because your father was, who just passed away recently, was similar ages to my father, right? Right now, would he be around 80 something?
Well, you know what's really nice is when you can bring someone back from the dead, and I am going to do that in this moment because my father is still alive.
Oh, that's
and
so
kicking.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, man, awesome.
How about that? Fuck yeah!
See, I
Can I
didn't know
swear on
you
your
had
podcast?
that
Is
power,
yeah.
but that's amazing.
Yeah. Look at that.
Man, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I thought.
I'm not.
'cause I remember
I'm
you
not
went
playing,
back
but
to-
I'm performing other miracles.
You
and that
went
was one
back to South Carolina to see him, and that's maybe why I felt like he had passed away. But he's still
I'll
alive.
give you the cliff
That's
notes.
great.
I'll give you the cliff notes. You want the cliff notes?
Yeah.
I'm going to save you some time.
Great.
I mean, then we can talk about you because I have some questions. Yeah, so I grew up outside of Boston. We were when I was growing up, one of those things where we weren't poor, but my dad did well, and we kept moving into a bigger house every year. And then my parents split up when I was 13, and that had as I've come to learn, an extremely profound effect on me, negatively. And my dad was would-be folk singer when he joined the army as a kid, and he traveled around Europe and learned to play the guitar and kind of bummed around doing that. So in the 60s, he was an American folk singer in like 1964 and 5 in Europe. So he would show up in a town and they'd be like,
Was his name Bob Dylan?
no, but he played with Paul Simon, a couple other people in various places,
that's
and
cool.
he didn't write anything. He wasn't a writer, but he was, kid was American. I guess his friends, they said they would show up in wherever they wanted to go, Munich or Athens, or whatever, and they'd be like, this is our friend. He's an American folk singer. Book him, and so
Yeah.
then they stayed at that. To me, growing up, sounded like the greatest time ever.
Yeah.
And he's still alive, so I shouldn't talk about that much. But we heard about that a lot. So I always wanted to write and play, and my parents, wanted different things from me. So anyway, to make a long story short, I was into poetry and writing and stuff like that, and I had this dream that I was going to write a book, and I went to before I moved out to Los Angeles, chasing whatever. I went to the bookstore and I thought, I'm going to buy the first novels of like 3 or 4 great writers, and that's what I'm going to do. I was 24, right? As if, and I almost picked up Ulysses, but instead I picked up Sons and Lovers by D.H. Lawrence as the first one I was going to knock out. And I remember reading that and getting to the end of it, and going, well, fuck, I can't do that. That is way beyond me, way beyond me.
That man crushed your dreams
Oh, my
in
God.
one swift
Oh,
move.
yeah, it's like an incredible work of, anyway, it's one of the greats. But, I remember being in college, and am I talking too much?
Yes.
Okay. I remember,
We should start rolling.
again, I haven't done this in a while.
We should start taping
Yeah.
now.
I remember being, I don't know why I'm giving you all this stuff, but I guess.
It's great, man. I love it. This is what I want people to hear.
I no longer embrace my narcissism. I try to walk away from it. I was, so I was lucky. I had parents who loved me a lot, and then it was a bit of a mess, but.
Were you an only child?
No, I was the oldest, though, and I was an only kid for about 4.5 years, so I got that kind of, you focus. And my dad used to sing us to sleep a lot, and my mom sang a lot, too, so there was a lot of that in the house. And I remember being in college, and I went to go see Lyle Lovett with a friend. I was probably 20 at the time, and I came home after that and tried to write a couple songs, and I listened to a lot of Buddy Holly, a lot of Sam Cooke, a lot of Paul Simon, stuff like that. And I remember sitting there, and I just, nothing. It was just I hadn't lived. I just couldn't do it. Everything that came out sounded like a bad Buddy Holly song or something. I'd written one thing for a girl in college. It was like the first thing I wrote was like. Excuse me, it was like, I can't pick anymore, but I won't even sing it. It's so embarrassing. It was like this, la 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 la. It was like this. I'm thinking just about you and I love you. Oh,
Here's what I guess I'm interested in.
Yeah, not that song. I understand. I can appreciate that. It was pretty bad.
Did you get? Did it work? Did that song work on her?
Yeah.
Another miracle.
A miracle.
Hang on a second. That was a good riff. I want to get it.
Hey, wait a minute. I forgot about this song. Maybe I could get laid again.
There was and I love you.
Oh yeah, you used the I love you.
Oh, how I love you.
Oh, Jude.
Oh, little Bacharach, you're right.
So cute.
It is a little Bacharach. It is a little wannabe. I can't play piano like that though. So anyway, that was the only thing and then I came up with that thing and I couldn't write. What's that?
I'd fuck him.
Oh, stop.
Oh my god.
And
Amazing.
and I it's funny with podcasts and dudes. I listen to this. The one I listen to a lot of podcasts right now. And I was telling you beforehand. I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast, and he has a lot of fighters on. And then he has like science guys, conspiracy. He's got a lot of various things. But sometimes he'll have guys on, or he's the editor of Vice on a lot, and it'll break down into a discussion of sex. And you realize, it's late at night. It's 3 or 4 guys. They're stoned in a studio, and it starts to get recruited. And because you're thinking, as you're listening to podcasts, sometimes you want to share them with people. A girl you're dating or a friend. You should listen to this, and you'll be deep. You're like, oh yeah, no, you should never listen to this.
It's like not every guy movie. Yeah, you just stay away. All the girls stay away.
Anyway, so sorry, I'll try not to be long-winded. This is so bad. I used to be better at this. So basically, I learned that I couldn't write. And I had to live a little more, and so I did. At some point, I dropped out of school. I had taken a job. This is a very funny esoteric thing, which I may not have told you because I used to not tell people this. But there was a moment in America where karaoke was very new. There was really only one club. It was in New York City. It was called Sing Along. This is like in the 80s. And they were doing so well. I don't know if they had the rights, but they were the only ones. And so they decided they were going to open up a chain of clubs. One was in Atlanta. There was going to be one in LA, one in da-da-da. They came down and the MC, this was like before karaoke was in bars. There was a capacity filled every night. I'm not exaggerating, of 500 people.
Right.
It was crazy. People would come in and line up for an hour and a half. We went in audition. I sang. I got the job as the MC. And these Broadway, performers and stars were like coming down from New York every weekend to show you how. Cool. I'd fly up to New York, and it was like, that was it. I was 20. I think I just turned 21. They were going to open one up in Los Angeles with like a bunch of the Brat Pack guys or investors. I was set. I was going to LA, man. I was so excited. And I remember this DJ from a local radio station came in, and he was like, so what do you want to do? I was like, I'm fucking moving to Los Angeles, man. I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to make it. He's like, I just fucking moved from Los Angeles. You don't want to go there. I'm like, no, I do want to go. I want to go. He's like, no, you don't believe me. He's like, I'm making the same money here I made there. All you're going to do is you're going to move there. You're going to try and make enough money so you can move away.
Wow.
So, I still hear it. It's so true. I know everyone I know feels that way. And, but anyway, that was a funny, interesting experience. I got to sing a lot. I was, performing, interacting with people, which I was usually pretty good at. And I used to imitate a lot of voices. So I would do I would do Willie Nelson and Julio Iglesias doing duets and stuff like that. And I grew up singing in a cappella groups in school. And then I don't know that karaoke thing was important in any way, but it bided time. I was around a lot of songs. It's like I still wasn't able to write. And so then I moved to South Carolina to finish college because it was a lot cheaper, and my family was up there, some of my family.
I have some family that live in South Carolina too.
Where?
And when you say cheaper, you mean cheaper. My brother bought a 5,000 square foot house for $87. Like it's cheap.
That's like a foreclosure
It's
thing.
cheap
Yeah,
there.
it's not that cheap. Charleston's not that cheap. But so I wrote. Do you want me to play stuff as we talk here? Is that the idea?
Man, just be yourself.
All right. So
but a better version of yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll try and pep it up. So I couldn't write. The whole thing was I realized I hadn't. The songwriters I admired, I didn't know where they were getting that. I didn't know where they're getting it from. So I could come up with forms. I could cop chords, but I couldn't. I just didn't know how to start and have that thing click. And I was already I was 24. I just hadn't written anything yet. And then I started. I was learning to play blues a little bit, and I wrote. this song, Bye Bye. It's the first real song. I think it's the first real song I wrote. So it's like, well, I wrote my baby a letter and I sent the thing to Federal Express. Yeah, I wrote my baby a letter and I sent the thing to Federal Express. Here's what I wrote. I hope I got the right address. Something like that. And the chorus, and then he talks about how he writes the letter, and here's what he wrote. And the chorus is,
he does.
I told her bye, 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 goodbye. See you later, bye, 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 goodbye. Adios, au revoir, vidos en sayonara, bye, bye. Bitch, that's for the girls in the podcast.
Oh,
and
then you said bitch. Because
actually, as soon after I moved out here, I had that song on tape, and within a couple of years. And Billy Vera was one of the first people who was nice to me because he had a friend that I knew, and I gave him the tape, and he called me up the next day or a couple days later, and he's like, "Man, I want to tell you," for Billy Vera and the Beaters.
Yeah.
And he called me up, and he was like, "Man, I get these tapes all the time. I have them for years. I'm calling to tell you, you got the thing. Stick with it. I'm gonna come see you play. You're onto something great." He's like, "Do you know who John Prine is?" I said, "I have no idea." He's like,
Man,
go check him out.
now you know, right?
Yeah, and he was like, "I think you should just keep it real simple. Maybe a little pocket trumpet, you and that guitar, da da da." Anyway, so cut to. I moved out here. I started writing songs. I was working in a computer store, and I worked. This one guy came in one time and offered to record me for money, and I gave him $100 or something, and I recorded. I went in, and I didn't know I'd had so many pieces of songs already in my head. What I had started doing at home was I was taking poetry that I was writing, and I was putting it all over the walls and everything, and I started putting a couple of them to music, and that was a big breakthrough for me. Like I took a poem that already existed, so the lyrics were strong, and put it to music. That was like, wow, look what I could do, as opposed to, a riff and writing a song. Mm-hmm. And I remember he poked his head in after a couple of songs, and he's like, "Man, you got a publishing deal?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And he's like, God, I should fucking screw you over right now. You get you to sign something, but I'm not gonna. Huh. All right, keep going, man. It's good. So I tracked, and we finished, and I had a DAT tape basically in a cassette. And I remember driving home, and I stopped at the gas station on La Brea. And,
I should screw you over right now. Yeah. What a sweetheart.
La Brea and very beautiful moment on La Brea and Beverly. I sat there in the car, and I had this cassette. I didn't know I'd written so much stuff. It said, there were 14 songs. It was like the 14 songs of Michael, Jude, Crystal. It was all, and I remember looking at her, and maybe it just said Jude. And I thought I was just prouder of that than anything I'd ever done. Any of the shows I'd been in, anything I performed, any poems I'd written, or anything like that. It just seemed like a more impressive thing to me. And in that moment, I've said this before, and it sounds corny, but it's just very true. My passion was completely born. I found it. I knew it was like, that's what God put me here to do. I'm going to make songs. Prior to this, I always felt like nobody needs another singer who can sing high. Nobody needs that's just so whatever. But now I thought, all right, I'm going to write great songs, And I spent the next few years really obsessing on that and trying to do that. And to make a long story short, it seemed like a long time to me, but it wasn't. Within a few years, I did have a lot of attention,
You were kind of in the beginning.
I made a mistake. I chose the wrong place.
Weren't you the beginning of the cafe? What was it, Largo
and stuff like that?
Weren't you the beginning of that cool Who was part of that scene then? Because you were in the beginning group.
Yeah, before Flanagan had Largo back, we were playing at the Alligator Lounge. He was another one. I bumped into him at a show. I gave him a tape where I talked to him. He's like, "Yeah, give me a tape." Call me the next day. He's like, "I'm gonna book you shows. Stuff's gonna happen for you." He took me out to lunch.
That's so cool.
He was like, "Let me tell you something. You want a record deal?" I was like, "No, I don't want a record deal at all. That seems like creepy."
Right.
He was like, "All right, you don't know what you're talking about." But, in a couple of years it's going to happen. So he was a super supporter, and it was like John Bryan. I think Phil Cody used to play back there then. Grant Lee Phillips, Grant Lee Buffalo was around, all those guys.
Man, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and those guys were great and amazing. It was also super competitive. I was a young, guy. Yeah. I was like, we were all like, competitive with each other, maybe in a way that wasn't super great. But
that's the human part.
Yeah, and, everybody trying to break out or whatever. And it's a long time ago, but those shows were nice.
Scenes remind me of what were the two skater girls? The one girl who had the other girl. Carrie, Tonya Harding,
Yeah, a little
and
bit.
Kerrigan.
Nancy Kerrigan.
That's what it was like. It was like, all those scenes in LA
a
and
little bit.
everywhere else. It's like, dude, I love that song. Such a jam. You're so good. And then you
Yeah.
go tell some guy or that's the guy I want you to kill.
Well, before I had it's funny because before Largo really took off and was a thing, I started playing a weekly show at a place now. It's called Beetlejuice. It doesn't exist anymore. It was on Melrose or something, and it was like I don't know if 50 people were there, it was full, And I started playing a week. I have still the posters around here somewhere, and I was just I didn't have I didn't have anything. I would just play this weekly show, and people would come, and that was great because it was forcing me to write at least a really good new quality song every week, And I was just in a super zone, and it was really cool. People used to come to that, and then I remember the Eels wanted to do a showcase, and so they came and opened up for me there, and
They opened up for you there.
yeah, or we played, on the night. They wanted the night. It was a good
Yeah.
room, flying down the room. It was like, wow, that's a fucking finished sounding, they sound amazing. It was full of A&R people, whatever. And I couldn't get anyone's attention, And guys would come in, like, I remember being like, I work at record labels, so you don't need to know where, but it's like, you're amazing, but it's just not the right time for you. It's like, it's just,
Funny.
acoustic, nobody wants it now. It was just the time of alternative. It had to be fucking banned, it had to be
Right.
fucking banned. And I was this guy, and I used to play with a guy named Bill Sewell, who's now a technology guy. He does really well, I think, and sweetheart of a guy. He played upright bass, and I played nylon, and we used to just go around and play. And the two of us, I have to say, someone said to me once, it was like we were like on a world class level. Like that was probably the best I ever was. Just a nylon and an upright. It was
Yeah.
pretty remarkable. But of course, I wanted to rock.
And
so I switched it out for.
Why aren't you doing that now?
Oh.
Knowing that
that guy was awesome, but that guy is I have recordings of that guy
That's just-
singing like a ballet dancer. Is amazing, that stuff. Yeah,
That sounds
I literally look
crazy
at
to
it.
me. Like,
It is-
but I've
it is
heard
not
you-
available.
I've heard you talk about yourself as though those days are over.
Yeah.
Since we started talking today,
Yeah.
and I just think like that's just not true. I know
Yeah.
that you've had some things change your voice. But
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard you just sing 5 times.
I can sing like a
and
baritone
you're
now,
the
you know?
same guy that would say, "Oh, I can't do it anymore. I don't do the thing anymore."
Yeah.
But to me, you make an adjustment, and maybe your thing is new and a little bit lower. But why can't guys like me are still excited to hear what you would have to say? Because I think that
Well,
you're
that's
one of the few
really-
guys that has something to say.
Thank you,
And plus,
thank you.
I mean, you got a lot of booze right there.
I'm gonna. Try,
There's a good chance some good shit's going to be said eventually.
there's nothing even over there, is there? Oh, some McAllen.
Because
I'm over the
don't
McAllen.
because I don't want to miss out on a bunch of things, and I have to start asking you some questions
I'm
about.
sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, I love it, but I just want to not miss some of these things because
You want to just give me an idea how long we go, so I don't.
usually about an hour.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tell you my whole life story, and I'm sorry about that. Let's.
No.
You
This
ask,
is
and
great.
I'll just answer.
This is great. I just want to
answer.
make sure that I ask you things that I think I'm interested in
And people
knowing
might want to
about.
hear it, right?
So finally,
Once I bought a blue shirt. Okay.
you have a people that care. And do they care about the nylon guitar and the upright
You mean right here
bass?
in this room? Oh no.
And you have record companies and I'm
All right, so to make
really
a long,
interested in.
I'm now going
in-
to cut this fast.
in
I
the
promise.
Maverick.
I'll make it fast. Here's what happened. Oh, the Maverick. Yeah, I don't talk this story much. We had a. I did a lot of work to let this stuff go, so I don't really go back here a lot. But what happened was, I had a beautiful, true following of people who, it seemed to care, and it was really nice. And I didn't want a record deal. I didn't know anything about it. It just seemed like ugh. But then next thing you know, like wow, that sounds exciting. And I wanted to get a publishing deal. I remember driving by BMG one time and looking at the building and telling my girlfriend, I'm gonna be a writer there one day. And within a year, I was, and they had signed me, and that allowed me to stop, working. I was washing dishes and doing PA work and stuff, and that was awesome. It was like I could just focus. Anyway, so it took a couple more years, and I got with a big attorney, and yeah, he's heard him tell the story since that I guess it was a very big bidding war at the time.
Yeah.
The timing was wrong. It was just a different time, and I think looking back on it, I made the wrong choice. And
What was the choice that you made that was wrong?
Maverick. I mean, I sensed in my gut, that she's an evil person, and that's probably a bad place.
So she
and-
meaning Madonna. Madonna was the the label.
Right. But it's not like she was involved in it in a day-to-day. And that, by the way, is a silly thing to say because so are the other majors. I mean, there's a lot of dark shit that went on at those places. Honestly, it's just so long ago, But I wanted I remember I wanted the president of the company, just like I'd read in the books, you know what I mean, to be like, you're my guy.
Of course.
And at Columbia, it was Donnie Einer, and he was really into it, but also, that he was really into Jeff Buckley, and I could tell and feel that.
Yep.
And Jeff was still alive. And
Were you friends with Jeff?
I was not. He died soon after I signed with Maverick, and
Yeah, I remember we were on tour, and he would just drown.
But people used to compare me to, and someone who used to manage his father, Tim Buckley, I guess used to, because before I kind of written a lot of songs, I would just sing more freely. Anyway, so the choices at the time were it was Clive Davis, it was Columbia, it was Maverick, and it was Epic.
Maverick doesn't exist anymore, right?
I hope not.
Who else was on? Were you her first signing?
No. Alanis Morissette is what broke that label.
Oh, Alanis Morissette.
They had the Deftones and then Alanis. And, Alanis, that was, life-changing for everybody involved in the place as well. And there were nice people at Maverick. I mean, it just was I was asked to sign an NDA.
What is that?
When I left, a non-disclosure agreement. I told him to fuck off. That cost me $100,000. I wrote this about it. I signed a confidentiality agreement, which I didn't. They said it was the proper thing to do. And so I won't be singing anything you might construe disparaging. Instead, I wrote this little song for you. Don't go dancing with the devil. The devil already knows the tune. He's the guy who wrote the song. He'll buy the floor you're dancing on. Everything you ever heard is true. If you're dancing with the devil, then the devil will be dancing on you. Anyway,
wow.
Goes on and on. Goes on and on in not a nice way. And so that was...
See, you're someone that I would never email fight with. You know what I mean? Like how you're like,
I was so
dude, fuck that, dude. I'm telling that guy where it's at. I would never do that with you because you would get a very concise lyric back that just made you go, okay, you win.
Well, here's what happened. The first record, we spent a lot of time.
Let's talk about that record because my sister-in-law, I'm married to a really wonderful family, really.
That's wonderful.
My
That's so
wife
great.
is really lovely, and her whole family are really lovely. She went to UW, and her sister went to UW,
Wisconsin?
University of Washington,
okay.
right before she did. And when she found out that I was friends with you, she was like, "That was our song, that was our album, that was our
That's so
dorm
nice.
album."
And by the way, I've said this before when I started. I mean, to encapsulate all this, by the way, if you're listening and you just want to cut to the end, it goes really well for a minute and then it turns horrible and really bad and I walk away. But the truth is that I've always said to people that, I didn't get as far as I hoped and at some point expected career-wise.
Right.
But I got so much farther creatively than I imagined I could have that I can die with that. Like I created a small body of work.
I'd like to take advantage of your talent before you move on to the next life.
I think it's 3 or 4 years. That's what I look at. That's the window for me.
Man, that's a terrible way to look at it.
Well, creatively.
I just think
creatively,
But I think had guys like Burt Bacharach or Willie Nelson decided that like Chris Christopherson, he was one of he wrote an enormous amount of hit songs for other artists.
Yeah.
And, he did it later.
That's a tough game. I spent some of last year trying to get into that game, and it's tough.
It's not a game to get into, really, as much as,
Well, the catch is I never had a hit song, So, and people,
And
What
that's
I-
what
what I-
people want. That's why
That's what I found, you
People
know.
are not. They don't want to sit in a room with you to write a B-side. They can do that by themselves.
exactly. They think. I mean, that's their journey. They want to write something interesting and
Yeah.
creative. So, and when I was never the king of writing huge hit choruses. You know, I'm not a top line guy. If you've got a track and you want me to come in and sing, I want to dance. That's not my gift. You know, so I found that that's not. You know, what I can do is help people write and get to cool places and collaborate on stuff. But yeah, that whole game is. That's a game of elephant hunting.
You know, that's very fun for me to hear you say that because I want to challenge that. I think that we can write a great song, and so
Well, with you,
in March we're going to do that.
All right. You heard it
because
here.
I'll be in the middle of writing or recording the record, and I need some good closers. I think of sometimes making albums as like it's a sports event,
Right.
and it's a game,
Right.
It's a baseball game, and
Yeah.
it's 9 innings, and you got to be
You
great
ever
in
have that feeling-
every inning,
you
but
ever-
we need a great closer.
I remember having that feeling on stage sometimes, when the show was really. You ever have that feeling
Really
where you feel
cooking?
like, yeah, and you really you start to feel like you're in a sporting event or like.
I loved your band, dude. You had
thank
such
you.
a
They
fucking
were such
cool
great guys.
band, such a great sound.
Yeah, William Rowe on the bass.
So good, man.
Ben Kashab on guitar sometimes. Woody Jackson after that. Blair Cinta, who went on to play with Alanis for a long time. Amazing drummer.
I asked Blair to tour my solo record, and he was like, "Fuck you, dude. Do you know who I am?"
He's very heavy. He's very heavy. You know what's great about Blair is he met his wife at. Only one time did I get paid money to do a New Year's Eve show. We flew to Baltimore. I made like $10,000 or something to play on New Year's Eve. We did 2 shows. We had to play upstairs and downstairs. Downstairs was nice. Ben and Ezra was on the show, I think. Were you there? I guess you would. I would
don't
recall. I don't think
think
you were. At any rate, his eventual and now wife and mother of their kids was there at the
Oh,
show.
cool.
They met. It was really nice. And
Well, she better help him understand that he needs to talk to me better.
you want to call him right now? Should we call?
No, he's a lovely guy. He's a really great drummer.
Yeah, I've
Who
always
is he
been very
playing
happy
with
for
right
him.
now? He was getting a band together, right?
I'm not. He's got a lot of projects going. I mean, he's an
Yeah.
indie-man drummer. That's a very tough gig to get into. It's like
Yeah.
you got guys. It's kind of like if bands want to become perennial touring bands, it's extra tough because the fucking Rolling Stones don't go away. It's like these bands
Yeah.
continue to tour.
That's right.
And with guys like that, truly talented, guys who want to be session guys and play on whatever, Matt Tramel's not going anywhere. He's still here. As far as I understand, I'm not in the recording business anymore, but it's like I just know that it's tough to break in, and Blair's spent a long time, and I think he is. It's like I'm so happy for that guy. Anyway, so there was a cool band. Those guys are good, and anyway,
Yeah, they were really great, man.
prod me along, or I'm just going to keep telling bad stories.
I remember you.
Oh, you want to know how it ended at Maverick? Because that's a story I don't tell.
I would love to know how it ended at Maverick. How many records in? Because, man,
After the first
your
record,
third record released on 9/11.
so here's what happened.
I mean,
No. That's all moot. What really happened was I did an acoustic. I did a tape. I sold like probably 1,000 copies. No, I sold a lot of copies of that cassette. And then I did we did the first. Then I did a CD. It was all acoustic. I think Maverick picked up 5,000 copies of that and sold them after that. Then I retain it, And then I re-recorded some of that stuff and made the first real record, which is No One's Really Beautiful. Very market poor thing. And, instead of Jude Crystal, we went with Jude. It was like a whole lot of debate, whatever. And I was proud of that record, though. I'm really happy with some of it. Some of the songs, I had over-recorded.
I'm an asshole.
Thank you. I like that one a lot.
No. I was just saying I'm an asshole.
Oh, I appreciate that, too. I appreciate you just saying that, yeah.
But what a great song.
Thank
man.
you.
You have.
Thank you.
You're
but-
such a great writer. Dude.
Thank you very much.
You gotta just keep doing it.
Thank you. I
this
appreciate
is,
it.
This is a magical time for you to embrace. This is the moment where
Yeah.
it's the place where you gotta just get over this place.
Well,
Every great artist.
let me tell you what happened. The problem is I've done this a couple of times, so it's probably cyclical.
all right.
And maybe
Well,
endemic to
seven
my,
is the charm.
It
they
may be
say.
endemic to my character. I'm not sure. So what happened was I was so disappointed in the label after
Yeah.
the first record. The way they'd promoted this versus that versus this versus that, and all those little things happen. And I think I took them all far too seriously. I remember
Mm-hmm.
we were on tour. I was opening for Chris Isaak and going through. And I had a hit record happening. We had a hit. It was starting to happen. It was like in Portland and in Seattle, and
With
places
what
like
song?
I'm Sorry, the first single they put out.
I'm sorry now.
Yeah, and it was very, it was very me kind of a song. It was the perfect song to get there.
Great song.
And Seattle was the station that was kind of leading it, I remember. And we screwed them over because I was supposed to play a big Christmas holiday show for them or something, and my manager's like, no, we got to do this Chris Isaak show, we're going to fuck him. And I remember like the local radio girl was like, no, you can't understand, these are people, they own their own station, they will not forgive you for this will. And it was just one of many times where I watched the people around me, do something that sounded like a mistake at the time, turned out to be a mistake at the time.
Yeah.
And that record, that died. And then we were on to the next one. So to make a long story short, by the time the first record was over, I was done with them. And what had happened was the guy at the label who had signed me was Freddie DeMann, Madonna's former manager. And Freddie loved me, and I loved him, and I liked how he liked me. And my sense as a young artist, as a kid, was I could tell when you just didn't dig my stuff, or I could tell if it moved you emotionally. And that was the only kind of person I wanted to work with,
Yeah.
And I could tell he just felt me, and that was my guy. But that label was owned by Madonna, this Guy Oseary, and Freddie DeMann. And Madonna and Guy Oseary, as my record was being finished, like in a Shakespearean kind of a move, turned and fucked Freddie over and pushed him out of the company. And Freddie used to call me. I would be at my in my little cabin up in Laurel Canyon waiting for the record to drop. We were trying to figure out if we could do a video, a single, whatever. And he was like, the first video, we were supposed to do a video, that's right. We were going to do a video for Rick James.
Right.
Ben Stiller was going to do it. Freddie was like, I don't know, I think he's very busy. And Gaio was like, no, he's the guy, he can make it happen. MTV loves him, da da da. I met with him several times. It was all going to be good. We're scheduled to record the thing. We're scheduled to shoot on a Saturday, and I get a call on a Friday. You got to talk to Ben. I'm like, what? He's going to cancel the shoot, but maybe you can talk him back into it. I'm like, excuse me? What? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? And he, as I understand it, was going to, I think he took the weekend to go, hang out with Claire Forlani in a hotel or something like that. And I called him. I was like, dude, you're fucking me here if this happens. Like, this is like the last chance for a single. It's the last chance for a video. And I remember where I was. I was sitting in the lobby of Ocean Way on a mix or something. And he's like, I owe you one, man. I'll make it up to you.
Oh.
That was in 1998. So the record had a lot of things happen, but the true thing that really, truly happened was Freddie was pushed out. And
wow, I'm going to make it up to you.
He called me up and said, I'm not going anywhere. And I remember my manager and I went out to lunch with him or dinner at this diner late at night, coffee, and because the manager managed Alanis Morissette. That's why I had a lot of pull over there at the time, He was like, we're with you. Alanis is with you. Jude's with you. Da, 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 da. He's like, all right, I'm going to own this company. Don't you worry. And he would call me, I'm not going anywhere, Jude. I'm not going anywhere. And a couple of years later, I'm hearing stuff, Freddie. It sounds like,
Sounds like
people are like, you got to make a choice. And Guy would come in, he's like, are you with me or not? Because, and Guy now manages, I think he manages U2, he manages Donna. He's a fucking heavy dude. He was young at the time, but he wasn't my kind of guy because I was all against the Hollywood or whatever, which is stupid. And so I was like, I felt not rivalrous toward him, but, he was younger than I was. It was just like, I just didn't like the whole vibe. I was with Freddie. And then one day he called me up and at $40 million was like, Jude, I'm leaving,
Oh.
And he told me, he's like, you are going to suffer. I'm really sorry. I'll make it up to you.
I'll make it up to you.
Yeah. And, that's not a check you can ever cash. So anyway, at the end of that record, I was devastated by what had happened because I felt like we came so close.
This is the first record.
This is the first big record. And I guess, whatever. I had Team Jude around me. I had big lawyers, big managers, stuff like that. I wish I had maybe a big brother, someone who could slap me a little.
I'd love to slap you.
And I appreciate that. But that's not how I go. But it would be nice if someone, looking back, had taken me and shaken me by the shoulders a little bit and just said like,
give you
fucking...
lots of makeup slaps.
Anyway, so I was really upset. And at the time, tried to... Anyway, we went ahead. We started to make a second record, and this is the stuff I try not to. This is gonna get dark.
I love the album cover on King of Yesterday.
Yeah, well, by then I hated the label so much that I didn't want to make it. I didn't want to give them the record, and I was living. I wasn't on drugs, but it was like I was high. I was deep into depression and paranoia and stuff.
Oh, bummer.
And I remember they sent the art department over to the where we were mixing the record. And the record was largely about hating a record label. That was really smart.
Which do you think that
You may have heard. The song called "Oh Boy" about.
No, but I'm saying like not. Who cares about the label?
Yeah.
But fans of what you do you think that they gave a shit about your disappointment in your label?
Why should they? Why should you care about the
And so,
artist?
in
Why you should only care?
retrospect-
It's about the art. The art is separate from
What
the
are
artist.
the things that you may
There-
have done differently at this point?
Right.
Like here you are, you're making your second record, you're really upset, but you're also a young man, so
Right,
you've got to go with whatever your heart and gut is telling you to do, because that's also what your fans want.
It felt like it was dead there. You know, it got to the point at shows where people would come out and be like, "What happened?"
Oh
You know,
shit!
it was
really?
like, and I said to my management and the label at the time, I was like, I just want to. It hurts to tour. It's like,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
literally.
wanna- I
Fans
don't-
are walking up to me. What happened? It sounded like that was going to be like. It was so disappointing. It was so.
No, that's
it was so
terrible.
sad. So I wrote some good stuff, and then we overproduced some of it. But what happened at the end was so the label with the thing, they showed up and I told the art department, I was like, look, the only thing I would do, I don't want to put my face on the record. I'm not into it. I hate them. I was like, all I would do is maybe like a fake Bee Gees thing, because that sounds
Right.
like a big FU. And they were like, we're in.
Yeah.
The art department, they were the Democrats, as Freddie called them. And they were like, we hate them too. Fuck them. Of course, whatever you want. Whatever you want. We have a
Right.
budget to make you a thing. We have to deliver something.
Yeah.
It can
Let's-
be a fucking picture of you and an elephant. Whatever you want.
Let's go.
So we made this, this silliness.
Sarcastic.
And tried
Yeah.
to. And
Aren't you high-fiving yourself?
yeah, I am high-fiving myself. I used to wear a lot of rings. And I had this watch ring I wore a lot. And,
Yeah.
and the art department made it a smiley face, and that always
Right.
upset me. And I actually know that art director now, David Harlan. He's a friend. I think he's going to do this next EP for me. And he knows that I'll never forgive him for that, because I won't. But anyway, so what truly happened at the end, what broke the back was, the record was over. Clive Davis heard the record, and I think maybe Peter Lee could leak to him or something like that, and he called me up. Clive Davis called me up, and this is where it gets really sad. He called me up and he says, Jude, I can sell 5 million copies of this record, and I will. He tried to sign me the first time. He was very passionate about it. But everyone's like, oh, he's over, da-da-da. And now I know
He's over, like
this
he's
is in 98. They're like, yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking
nobody
about.
even listens to him. Yeah,
Meanwhile, now it's 3 years later. My career feels like it has one chance left. He's like, I can't get you out of there. You have to get out yourself. He's like, I did it before. I think he said Earth, Wind, and Fire, something like that. He's like, but you have to get out of the label. You have to find a way out. I was like, I will do it. He's like, I'll be waiting for you. Oh my God. I get off the phone. I call my lawyer. I'm like,
you
or
gotta
I call my
fucking
manager. I was
get me
like,
off.
we got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
My manager, who manages Alanis Morissette at Maverick, okay, little conflict maybe,
Says
and my lawyer, who represents Alanis Morissette at
And
Maverick,
Maverick.
and Guy Oseary at Maverick, right? My manager goes, the only person who can do this is Kenny. Kenny calls up a woman whose name I won't say because I'll swear after it.
Madonna?
No. A lawyer who became one of the small percentage principals over there. She's like, no, we love this record. Absolutely. It sounds like Coldplay. We love it. King of Yesterday was the song. They were like, no, absolutely not. And he offered him, I don't know what, he offered to buy out my contract. He offered them a lot of money.
Yeah.
They're like, absolutely not. The thing is that people would rather see you fail and have someone else succeed with you at a certain
Exactly.
point, right? So the only thing I could have done is have gone bankrupt. I let myself be convinced that was untenable because I would lose copyrights to my songs, which I didn't even know at the time. I'd still have the writers, but I felt like, how could I lose my songs? And I remember being up at my lawyer's house, who was, still a friend of mine, and walking around talking about this and kind of accepting the resolve that I guess it couldn't happen and, we could make it work. And Maverick had hired a new guy to do A&R who was my former publisher, and it seemed like we'll find a way to make this work.
Why didn't you?
It could not work.
Why didn't you start dating an actress and go into rehab? Like, this is what people do when
Yeah.
they're in a jam. They
Yeah,
get
yeah.
attention. And I'm not kidding. Like,
Yeah.
what part of you wouldn't allow yourself to get, I don't know, Hollywood. I don't want to disrespect Hollywood, but
I was living with a wonderful woman
Us
at the time.
Weekly.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Why didn't you Us Weekly out?
I didn't understand that either on the first record. I didn't understand how guys like Rufus Wainwright and people were getting so much press. And then I found out you have to hire your own PR.
Sure.
I was using Maverick's PR. Maverick had their internal PR for the first
Man,
record.
everything was wrong with that label. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, so I hired real PR, and all of a sudden we're on TV. But here's what really happened. So then that summer, my dad had a heart attack, and I went back and dropped a lot of money on that. And while I was still kind of in the throes of fighting my way out, now I needed the money, and now I needed the advance, I needed the needed that.
Right.
And I called up and and I made nice. I was like, I'll play along.
Yeah.
There was no getting out. And then what happened was the record was dead. I had handed in a song called Cuba about an apocryphal, sarcastic song. It was untrustworthy narrator. I was really into Randy Newman at the time. I would play it at shows. It was cathartic and also very funny, and that's how you would perceive it. It was like, obviously, it's not real. It's like, look at, you're making fun of how angry the artist gets when he look at my painting, says "fuck you," will you buy another one? And the A&R person at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm protecting people's names. It's so funny. But he sat
Madonna?
No, it was Danny Strick. It was Danny Strick, who's a nice guy and had been kind to me for many years. But at this point, his job was to, he's being paid by Maverick. He played the song for Guy Oseary, alone in a car, which is how
Alone what?
In a car, which is how the song would sound creepy and scary. And Guy calls me up. He's like, "Do I have to worry? Are you gonna come and kill me? Are you that kind of person?" He's like, do I need to get guard to my family? Are you seriously gonna try and kill somebody? No, be aware. At some point, I had gone to the Maverick office. I'm not gonna say it but yeah, it had gotten
Madonna?
dangerous. It had gotten dangerous. I was on the edge. They weren't in real danger because I wouldn't do that, but I was prepared to do it. Let's say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was prepared. But we live in California. We can't talk about some of that stuff. So what happened was, by the time the record came out on September 11th, it was already dead. So I had gone around on a I'd gone around a promo tour.
What happened on the 11th?
Well, yeah. So I'd gone around a promo tour, right? You go to the promo tour, the radio tour, and you're going around playing, meeting the PD.
Right.
So people who don't know. Yeah, so you go around, you hang out with the record radio station, and you play the song for the staff, and they have a pizza, and then you talk about, and then you go to the bathroom, and the record company person says, you're going to add this, we got a guy who's going to funnel you $50,000 behind the bucket, or it's actually a cool song, and the PD for the program director goes, yeah, we're going to add it, we like this, it's going to work for our playlist, and we'll see if people respond. If they do, we'll keep playing it more and more. So that's what you do. So you hope to get a lot of ads in the first week. They call it ads. And from what I understood, 20 or 30 ads was like a pretty good first week at the format we were going to. And we went out to a format that I had, I had frustratingly we'd gone to 3 or 4 different formats for the first record. That was another thing that was problematic. I hadn't. Yeah,
there was alternative and rock and
I was
Hot
good.
AC
I was
was
good.
just
Right.
beginning.
I was good live, and yet we weren't playing to the same market over and over.
Sure.
So that was frustrating. So what happened was I would go on this tour, and I'd be sitting at dinner or lunch with the program director and the Maverick person, whom I'd like to see die before I die, but that's a different person. And he would get up.
Madonna?
No. He would get up, and the program director would lean across the table to me. This would be a station at which I'd had a hit before, had done shows for, Christmas shows, stuff like that. And he would go, "You got to get out of there."
You what?
"You got to get out of there."
You gotta get out of here.
I go, "What?"
Oh my God!
Literally, this happened to me.
Dark.
I remember it. Texas and Seattle. It happened so many places. He go, "You gotta get out of there. I can't touch your record."
Oh my God!
I go,
dude.
"What?" I'm riding around with this guy. This he was lying to me. The head of promotion.
So the
Ted
whole
Volker.
place is
They were-
imploding.
no, it's not that it's imploding. It's like, "You're dead. I can't touch your
you're
record.
dead.
I can't touch your record. You got to get out of Maverick."
Oh my God!
I go, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I didn't say that."
I didn't say that.
That happened to me half a dozen times.
Oh no, Jude.
Still, I'm calling my manager. "I'm fucking in Seattle. The program director told me you can't play the fucking song. What the fuck is going on?" At this point, my life is so. I'm losing my mind, right?
Right.
My
It
manager's
sounds
like,
like
"That's
a
bullshit.
joke."
That's bullshit. Don't worry about that. They talk bullshit. I've talked to Vogue. These guys, they're pushing the record hard. We're gonna,
Wow.
I'm like, it's weird because this is the 3rd city in a
Your
row.
manager's
Someone told me.
not a good manager.
Well, he's
Maybe that's the guy you need to see die
no.
before you
Wait,
die.
listen, here's the.
I can have him.
I'm gonna get to the point. I'm gonna get to.
You got $600. That guy's dead.
Yeah, really. Here's the point. No, all those people were good to me. I was young. I was a little spoiled in terms of expectations, and it takes a lot to know that you should walk into a room, and the only thing I could have done, looking back, is have gone into the room and fired them all. I could have fired them all and then gone to New York and sat in Clive Davis's office and been
Right.
like, "I fired everybody. Tell me who to hire."
Right.
I didn't do that because I was partly talked out of it,
Sure,
partly
of course.
afraid,
Well,
partly
you're
with
an
my
artist.
dad.
You're not supposed to know
partly-
how to finagle everybody. You're supposed to be
I've got
taken
guys
care of.
I've got people that I trust deeply that
Sure.
have been with me from the beginning, have helped me get to what feels like real
It's
success.
like being in the mob, and then the whole mob
and
turns
they,
on you.
And they told me like the only way through this is directly. We're going to do it together. Don't worry. So what happened is by the time the record came out on September 11th.
Jesus Christ! I
which
mean,
was lucky,
every time you
which was
say
lucky,
it, I want to
yeah.
just hug you.
But it was a Tuesday. I think a lot of things came out that day. A woman who had worked there and had been an enormous supporter of mine for a long, long time and had taken bullets from me and everything, as they say. She called me up. She'd already left. She couldn't take it anymore. My bass player, William Rowe, who's a great, great guy,
Yeah.
had quit at this point because the record company took the single King of Yesterday and they did an edit while I was in France doing promo work, and they put the chorus in front of the song. So instead of having like this nice
What is William
emotional
doing
build,
right now?
he's got a great job, and I can't describe it specifically without making a mistake, but he does
okay.
well. He's got a family. He's a wonderful guy. Even he called me. He's like, dude, if you're caving on this, I gotta, like, it was just,
Yeah.
it was bad.
Right.
So she called me up the day the record came out, 3 ads nationwide.
How many ads?
3. And she called me up and she goes, do you get it? And I go, she's like, do you understand what that means? She's like, it's completely over. You have to just walk away as fast as you can. There's nothing there. They're just going to destroy you as long as they can.
Wow.
So that sounds really dark. It sounds like, whoa. But I mean, it was like, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? So the record was,
So here you
the record
are-
was dead before it was released. It's not about September 11th.
You've given them all of this,
Anyway.
all of your life. And so I guess I guess the question at this point is, would you play us a song?
I'm so sorry we talked about this stuff. I have to be honest with you.
I got to tell you, dude,
really try not
it's
to.
incredibly interesting because it's going to get really good for you. And I know that you're like laughing about it, but I'm not kidding.
Well, here's
like,
what happened. So,
you're one of the most talented guys
Thank you.
in this fucking city or on this planet.
It's not true, but thank you.
It is true.
I did. I
You
did.
gotta
I went to New York after that, and I sat with Clive, and I thought it was all going to be good, but it wasn't. It was over, And I thought I had a deal, and I walked out of there. I called my lawyer. He's like, "No, you don't have a deal. He wants more songs." And at that point, I really finally broke down, and I went and stayed at my friend's house in New York, whom I just saw recently. He's like, "I thought you were going to kill yourself," and I was like, "I was thinking about it," and I wrote, but instead I wrote
Good.
I wrote this song. I'm not going to sing it. But anyway, the lyric was it's on the Sarah record. It's the lyric is I wrote the song to keep from killing myself. It was all I could do, and I found they want someone else. I know it's not cool to reveal I almost died, but I'm tired, and I know you never liked me when I lied. And then the chorus is all that I need. I tried to make it positive after that, is a river running over me. I want to be beautiful again, and in time I will shine. Underwater I will be divine. Come on, keep on raining. And that I wrote my way through it. I felt like alive. And then I put out a record. It's called the Sarah record, with no label involvement. I was living in, I was lucky. A guy took me into a studio and let me just hang out there for a while. And Paul Kimball from Currently Buffalo helped me. And we produced this really acoustic record. And I put it out alone on CD Baby, and it became their #1 seller. And next thing I knew, the French press had picked it up. I flew over to France.
Crazy.
I had a little bidding war in France. I got to pick a label over there, and I had a whole
cool.
new resurgence career. So that was like in 03. Pardon me, 04.
Yeah.
I put out another record in 05, and sometime around then I also got involved with these guys and did like a group project called the Low Stars. It was like a big acoustic thing.
band.
It was cool, but it turned in, we all had lead singer disease. It was like 4 guys, almost 40 years old. It was just a mess. So, and it was, and sometime after that, I walked away.
Really?
Yeah, because I just felt like...
It hurts too much sometimes, right?
Yeah, and I felt like I was, approaching 40. I thought, I guess I could rebuild a touring business at this point. I guess I could do that. But I would probably have to tour 8-9 months a year,
Yeah.
to max out at whatever. I'm never going to have a radio hit now, kind of. And I just,
You
and I thought,
have to tour again.
and I thought, I'm gonna try and do something else. And at the time, real estate looked easy, and my dad was in real estate, and so I moved back there in 2007, which is like getting in the stock market in 1928.
Right.
And I took a heavy I took a heavy bath,
Jesus.
and then I lost anything that I had, and some friends' money too. And then
Holy shit.
I came back out here and started making music for TV, and somewhere around there, it just and that was it. That was it. So I make music for TV now, and you know what? I like it. I don't have to. I have sat at it took me years to be able to sit at the piano again, and there were times where I'd sit, like that song I started out playing, and I would go to write, and it was, I'd walk away. It's like, that's very painful. And the stakes aren't, it used to be, I felt like I'm going to go and I'm going to write something that is true. It's for posterity's sake. It matters. And I felt possessed by it, and not in an exhibitionist way, but it felt like I was channeling something real and truthful, and I had to get it out there. And it starts to get to the point where you realize, no one's waiting on the next song or your next record or whatever. It's like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I gonna destroy the relationship I'm in right now, or hurt someone around me just to write something that then in a way feels selfish? So, ta-da! That's it.
Man,
That's the story. You got it all.
Wow.
You got it all. I
Well,
love you. Sorry, I'm
more,
sorry about that.
But I need you to play this song right now because
I'm taking your whole
I
day
think
up.
this is an example of. When did you write this?
I wrote this song probably 2 years ago.
See, like you still.
I started 3 years ago, but
you
it was
still
hard to
write
finish.
Great music. And
Thank
this
you.
is such an interesting take on, and you were like, oh, it's just a nursery rhyme. But every song, as Pergo says, is a nursery rhyme.
If it's catchy.
Even if it's from even if it's from Ghostface Killah. So this song is called "Me and My Monster." But what is it? It sounds like.
I mean, you see my dog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Is it really about your dog?
Well, no, obviously, but I was walking with him, and here's what happened. The thing, it's just one sad story after another, But the truth is that as I told you, sometime around 08, 09, I was getting, while I was on that last tour with those guys and in France too, I used to get sinus infections a lot. I mean, a lot, and I was being advised to get surgery and stuff, and I've got a really hotshot ENT in Hollywood, and. I think I'd done 12 or 13 rounds of antibiotics inside of 6 months, and it was just
Oh no.
Finally it was like, look,
Yeah.
after 2 years after he started telling me I need to get surgery, he's like, you need to get this surgery. He's like,
Right.
I was like, yeah, but it could fuck my voice up. He's like, you literally can't sing now. You call me from the road, you get sick all the time.
Right.
So I got the surgery. It cleared it up. I didn't get sick for a long time after that. But within about 6 months, I had this weird thing happen where I get fluid in my ears every day. I was telling you, it's just a weird thing. We're literally still trying to figure it out 5 years later. It's not like I go to the doctor every week. It costs money, but I've gone through all kinds of stuff. I'm not allergic to anything. We can't figure this out. There's some team of specialists at UCLA I'm supposed to see next. If I had people riding on me singing, we'd have done it, maybe addressed it faster. But so it took a lot of the joy out of singing. When I wake up in the morning, I don't have my voice, and so I kind of walk around singing. So on a day when I get a clear voice, I tend to sing. And so it was one day when my voice is kind of clear, I guess, and I was walking around singing, and I was walking the dog down the corner, and
it's a big ass dog.
He's a big dog, so he's like a small monster. He's really, once he's really friendly. He's blind in an eye. He weighs like 130 pounds.
And if you come at him real fast,
he will kill you. He will kill you. Yeah, he's very dangerous. It's a dangerous breed. He's a great dog, real sweet, and. As someone said to me once, it's like having a small monster, because even when you know him and he's friendly, you go to pet him, he'll turn his head fast and he could, break your tooth or hurt like he easily hurts you.
Yeah.
He doesn't know his size. And he drools and slobbers and, it's like.
we when we saw your dog and we were like, hey, is that your dog? And you said, yes, he's not for meeting.
Yeah, no, not.
Anyway,
he's a big dog. So
sing
yeah,
us a
that
song about
it triggered it. It triggered it, but obviously it's not.
Yeah, but this sounds like what's great about this song is that it sounds, which every great song has to stem from. It's like if you have a literal connection, it also has to relate to other people. And most of us have like either an alter ego or something that we just a chip on our shoulder or an emotional imbalance that we can't really get rid of that this song reminds me of. Like, hey, I want to meet somebody who's okay with my flaws, not just the happy days. And so that's what I love about this song.
Thank you.
So when you sing it, if you could sing it really great, it would be...
Oh, God.
And Jerry's gonna he's gonna play it with you.
Do you take Nexium?
I take wine.
I'm supposed to take 3 Prilosec a day. If I take Nexium, it helps a little.
Well,
anyway.
I'm going to try to sing some backgrounds at the end.
Really? God, that Marry Me song is so good.
What's so good?
Your song, Marry Me. It's really...
Oh, Marry Me.
It's amazing.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
I've written wedding songs a couple of times.
Oh,
and
thanks, dude.
It was funny. I was watching on TV one night. I was like, that's the thing. I mean, you write those big ones. It's good.
You're going to meet
awesome.
that girl. You got to meet that girl to write that song. I met Is this another topic that we're gonna have to get you through?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
This is me and my monster.
All right. Double intro. Why not? Me and my monster go walking outside 'cause it's small in my bedroom. So every night we go out through the city, just strolling along till it's quiet enough. And he sings me his song. He goes, why do we keep pretending that I'm not here? They see you're defending a life of fear. That's my monster, he does that a lot. I'd ignore him, but sometimes he's all that I've got. Like a me alcoholic, I keep him around 'cause there's parts of my monster I still haven't found. Me and my monster wake up every day. First I let him run wild, then I lock him away. So the people I meet greet a regular guy, but from back in his cage I can still hear him crying. Why do we keep pretending that I'm not here? They see you're defending a life of fear. It's funny, he'll bite and defend against anyone getting too close, even friends. But what can I do? Monsters are true. Here comes my new love, and this one might be what I've waited for all of my life. So has he for us someone to see us in every part and to say that's okay, she'll love me as we are. Why do we keep pretending that I'm not here? They see you're defending a life of fear. Do we keep pretending that I'm not here? They see, quit defending a life of fear. Be free, quit defending a life of fear. Be free, quit defending a life of fear. Be free, quit defending a life of fear. You like how I changed the chords up on you at the end there? Anyway,
Sounds so great, dude.
I really appreciate you saying that.
So I have one other thing before I get to my wife's questions. What is the band called?
Driveshaft.
Driveshaft.
Yeah, so Driveshaft is the band on Lost, and the guys who created Lost.
Okay, let me tell you, like Pergo is obsessed with Lost.
I'm going to break it down for you. So the guys who created Lost, J.J. Abrams, right?
Yeah.
I have a note from him downstairs. It's like, genius, dude, let's record. I framed it.
Wow.
I haven't heard from him since, but they were kind to me.
You got Star Wars coming up with him.
Yeah, I know, right? The problem is I didn't get to score it. I mean, that guy, Chiquini, is incredible. And, so anyway, but they called me up and they were like, we need a song for this. We only have, X dollars. We got to own all the pub, whatever. And at the time I was writing with Chris Seafried a lot. Chris Seafried has become a real known producer now. He did Fits in the Tantrum, stuff like that. And he and I were the main writers. We had a really good run as a team of writers, as a pair, for that Low Stars thing. And, it was like, I think it was a few grand or something. It was like, what is he doing? We can do it on Sunday afternoon. We'll do it. So the truth is, he produced that more than I. We came up with it together, but they already had the lyric and kind of a melody. And then Chris has that kind of real gritty voice. So he's the singer on Driveshaft. I'm in the background going, la la, whatever, And
But
So
what is the lyric?
The lyric is something they saw
You-
on a Sally Jesse Raphael show. It's like, you all everybody, acting like, I forget the chorus, acting like they're stupid people wearing expensive clothes. That's it. You all everybody. Then of course later we went and made a whole song of it because I was obsessed. Like, and then it was like, underneath that makeup, underneath that scar, underneath that bullshit, baby, all that is what you are. I could see you truly. It was like a Jet song. I could set you free. I'm gonna make you only want to run away with me. You all. Never went anywhere. Just sits on my, iTunes. It's like, no, it was useless. But the truth. So then what happened is they put a DVD set out of the first season or whatever. And they're talking, and Brian Burke, who's one of the producers, who's a great guy and been a supporter of mine. I got to record and write. Like anytime Driveshaft had a song, like if Charlie's sitting and writing, I wrote that. And I sang a couple times and replaced. But that one song, I'm not the lead singer on it. And the truth is, there wasn't a lot of writing that went into it. You know what I mean? And Chris and I did it together, and they called and they asked for our headshots for the DVD, whatever, The DVD comes out. I didn't see it until years later, and he and I were in the middle of this very difficult scenario with the band. And what happens is they're like, yeah, Driveshaft. So what we did is we went to Jude, who's this amazing songwriter. And, if you want a pop song, it's catchy. You go to Jude, man. It's like, he's just trying to give me, he's like a friend of mine, he's giving me props or whatever. Literally doesn't even name Chris.
Oh, shit.
And he sat and watched it with his family.
Oh.
I feel so badly about it. And by the way, he's a tremendous writer. He's finally being rewarded for that. He's doing well. He's a great guy. I spoke to him last week. But yeah, it was really so that's the story with Driveshaft.
So basically, what you're saying is you fucked him.
Yeah, LA style.
Yeah.
Not purposely. No, I didn't.
Man, that shit just is so funny. Like, who you never know, like, what people's perceptions of things are, but
people
I'm
took,
sure that he's going to be just fine.
Oh, he's doing well. The people took those songs and turned them into other stuff. Yeah, so
I want to ask you.
We got to wrap this up for you, right? You got to go. You got big stars to record.
I got big stars to work with, Jude.
I didn't mean for this to turn into a therapy session. I'm sorry. You got me.
Dude, I love you and I love your
appreciate
work
that.
and
Thank
everything
you.
you're doing is great. And I this was one of the best interviews we've ever done. And these guys,
I can't imagine
these
that's
guys
the
are
case.
terrible critics.
How was this take?
Because
Should we do that again? The monster.
It can't be. Every interview. Here's what's disappointing when I do interviews. I'll be real honest.
I can't wait to hear this.
It's when
I'm gonna start doing a podcast tomorrow. By the way,
it's because when
Chase you
you
around.
when you talk to friends or new friends or
Right.
anybody in anything, when they're themselves, that's when the best of everything comes out. But when there's a lot of I want to be funny and I want to do this thing and I want to, and then it's just you got to get through a half hour of that before you get to the story. And to me, your whole story is very compelling.
Well,
and so we got
thank
right
you.
to the story. And I threw in my smart-ass comments, like I want to slap you. I thought that was genius. It was a great addition to your story.
You know what it was? Truly, was the timing was so impeccable, and you
was
truly
impeccable.
have incredible
I do.
timing.
I gotta tell you.
Yeah, people don't expect it to come. People don't expect
Madonna?
it. Yeah, you wore that down. I was in
and you ignored it.
I was in the
which
restroom.
played to the greatness.
I was in the restroom. My bath. I was in the bathroom, and I was thinking that thing. It's like the truth is that most people want to be the strong man. Most people want to be Gary Cooper, John Wayne, and be tough and strong. And I, at a certain point in your life, you come to accept that you're not that. And with this kind of stuff, I'm not. I'm just emotionally
I just
too
think,
available, and I'm a bit more of a raw nerve. So
but I
I
think
had to
that
just be honest.
you're being willing to talk about these things is fucking amazing, man. That's what people want to hear. They don't want to hear you be funny and, oh man, there's that guy that I got to listen to all the pretentiousness. There's such a realness, and that's why you're a great artist. That's why you're still writing great songs, and your voice is still great. And you gotta stop telling people that it's not, because it's kind of fucking great, man.
Well,
and so here are my wife's questions.
All right,
if I don't
I'm ready.
ask,
I'm ready.
I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. Okay, your best tour find?
Find?
Yeah, something out there in the world that you wouldn't
Physical
have.
object?
What's that?
A physical object?
Well, it could be like a burger joint, a record store.
I mean,
a girl.
Yeah, I mean, I met Angela when I was on the road. Angela, my girlfriend of 8 years.
Is she your girlfriend still?
No, she's not. But we moved into this house together, and now she's with a wonderful guy, and they're happy. I'm a great place to start, is what happens. But yeah, that was
that was your best tour find. Where did you find Angela?
In Portland.
In Portland, Oregon.
Yeah. Portland, Oregon was great. I used to go up there a lot. I used to find great boots up there, actually.
Great boots.
Great thrift stores up there. I used to find great, yeah. So best tour find, I mean, outside of people, whatever. I've met wonderful people on the road over the years. I guess I'll go with boots.
Boots in Portland.
Yeah.
Good call. What are you a fan of currently? Like whether it's
Music?
It could be anything you want. It could be.
I'm an enormous.
Like yesterday,
yeah.
I asked Richard Marx, and he said tequila.
So, I can't be the fan of scotch and cigars that I have been because it's damaged me, probably vocally and stuff. I am an enormous combat sports fan.
Really?
Really. People find it. What's the word?
Repulsive?
No, people find it
Sexy?
like to be a contradiction. What's the word you'd say? Incongruous. But yeah, I am an enormous martial arts fan, or an enormous combat sports fan, boxing and mixed martial arts.
Do you practice martial arts?
Absolutely not. Look at me. I would fucking break into these hands.
And
no way.
And you just watch those guys, and you just like can't get enough of it.
I am a true devotee. Like I love it.
Do you
But
go
I like,
see it live?
I have. I like I like tennis. I like individual sports. I'm not a team sports guy. I think they're great.
You're not a team sports guy.
I watch games, but I mean, I watched evil Peyton Manning beat Tom Brady the other day. That was horrific. So that's like, But no, I love that. And when
You said evil Peyton Manning?
yeah, I've had enough.
Oh,
I've had
because
enough.
you're a Boston fan.
Yeah, I could honestly. The truth is, I could not care less about that stuff. I'm just joking. I joke so if my brothers ever hear something, they think I'm on the right side of things.
Sure, right.
Like when I first moved out here, I was reading an article on Kobe Bryant 20 years ago, or however long ago, and my brother's a major Celtics fan. They're from Boston, and I was like, I'm reading this article, and it was a PR puff piece in LA Times Magazine or whatever about how he takes care of his mom and his girlfriend. I was like, he seems like a good guy. This kid's like, My brother George, silence on the phone for like 15 seconds, 20 seconds. I'm like, George, you there? He's like, I'm just gonna pretend that you didn't fucking say that shit that you just said, and we'll just let this go this time. You know what I mean? But that kid is a piece of shit. He's selfish. He's arrogant. He's gonna like it was just like he was so sports teams. People are so and maybe I can't.
I'm gonna let that shit go.
I can't get into that. I can't. I mean, whatever.
I'm gonna let this shit go this time.
I don't. I'm from Boston, so I don't root for teams, but I recognize evil when I see it. So I root against the Yankees. As like an institution. But no, anyway, that's the thing that I'm into. People what was the question?
It doesn't matter. So the next question is,
are you not a mixed martial arts fan?
I watch it, and then I can't watch people get hurt because then I think the sport is terrible. Like my brother-in-law plays football at a place called California Lutheran College.
Nice.
It's pretty close by here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of problems after football.
Yeah.
And
we're going to know a lot more in another 10 to 15 years too. The same is true in mixed martial arts.
Everything you can think of, liver problems.
No, I know.
Parkinson's disease, and like all these things.
And they're finding more and more that head trauma is not just about singular events, but also attrition. And yeah, it's very difficult.
Weird thing for the family right now. So when I think about like martial arts stuff, I think like these poor guys, they have to do this because they were born with big bodies and maybe not these talents on guitar and stuff. So
and high testosterone levels and a willingness to fight is a thing that makes a man a fighter that not most men have, and it's a very strange, unique thing. And if they can channel it,
it's a strange thing in there.
But jiu-jitsu is less dangerous because there's not that impact.
What is your dog's name?
His name, he came with the name, which I tried to change. He's Italian, so I tried to make his name Luca. But when a dog that big is running at a stranger and has broken off your leash or has pulled you over, you start calling anything he'll respond to. And his original name was Axel.
Axel.
And his name is now Axel, yeah.
And that's why your internet password is Axel?
You just want to give away my passwords?
I'm not sure that anyone knows where you live, but yes, I do. Okay, so is there a standout moment that you've had in the last little bit that has been really lovely, or because you've had so many standout moments?
I was going to go on with my fighter analogy. When you're having a good show, it feels a little bit like you're in the ring. You really have that moment where you're in a zone.
I see what you're saying.
And you feel several things are going on. You can give. You can't punch yourself out. You know what I mean? You got, even as great as it is, you can give and give, but you got to hold a little because you realize there's 6-7 more rounds to go.
Right.
And it's a very beautiful feeling when you feel like everything's flowing. No, but I miss the two things I miss are I don't miss the applause or anything like that. I really don't. I just miss the only thing I miss, if I think about it, is the connection the emotional connection with an audience. You know, when you get a group of people to go one place together and say, "All right, just for fun, we're all gonna go over here together now, and we'll experience some new stuff together." That's something that's, you know, performers understand, and it's really. I was dragged to church recently, and which I don't usually go to, and it was one of those like Christian revival churches. You know, not revival, but it opened with a concert. You know, and it reminded me of a show. I was like, "All right, it's powerful stuff." So I miss that.
Did you dig church? Will you be going back?
I didn't dig it, but I remember once when I was in Charleston in the taxi when I was down there trying to get out music last time, and you know, you have these experiences when you're in the South. You know, as a white guy, it's all you get in the car with a much older black guy as a cabbie, and all of a sudden you think Morgan Freeman's sitting around. He's going to tell you wise stuff. So
Right.
He's asking but he was really chatty and asked me what I did. And I told him and I was like, yeah, you know, and I told him about, you know, my career and what I did with songs and how, you know, I just always want to get a few songs where people, you know, hard to get rid of, and at least it's nice that I know sometimes, you know, people will have my song at a wedding or something like that, or they'll tell me it was important to them once. He goes, "Well, you've got a ministry of song." I go, "What?" He's like, "That's what you have, a ministry of songs." He's like, "And you can care for that or grow it or not, but it's always going to be there."
Oh, that's cool.
I was like,
That's helpful.
It's
He
pretty
was
good.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, totally, dude.
Wow.
Our way of life will continue. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Anyway,
That's awesome.
What's the next question? You want a little Willie Nelson?
So I want to know. Wait, what are you gonna?
Want a little Willie Nelson?
Yes.
What should we sing, Willie Nelson? Let's see. It's like a young man. There's no need to feel down, young man. Pick yourself off the ground. Go there to the YMCA. They will help you out on your way. He'll go, "It's fun to stay at the YMCA." So it's like it's like 3 vowels in one. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It helps if you're gay. And then the other thing is, you have to know that he was really into Sinatra later in life, so you start to realize he's backphrasing stuff heavily. You know,
Yeah.
and if you go see him, plus he's stoned, so it's like, you know, the words come a little later, and it's all good because he's so remarkable.
He's
Anyway,
really amazing, isn't he?
isn't he just amazing and remarkable? Yeah, it's wonderful that he's. It's just a beautiful thing.
So my last 2 questions are:
I'm gonna feel so alone when you guys leave now. Back to
what is the most important yes and the most important no that have happened to you?
Jesus. Have I not poured my heart out to you already?
You know what? You're right. That's a terrible question.
We weren't rolling.
Yeah, we weren't rolling for the other.
I just hit record.
Shit. What's that? Work.
Like something you wish you would have said yes to, or wish you would have said no to.
Honestly, I'm begging you not to bring me back there. We're almost out
Okay.
of it.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
Yes
'Cause,
to. I mean, what you asked me to tell you the greatest regrets of my life?
Nope. I didn't. I don't want that one. That's terrible.
That's your wife's question?
What's next?
Ask him what makes him feel old. Ask him if he could go back and change things that it's definitely too late to go back and change. What would they be? And what's the lasting impact of those on his life now?
He's good.
What?
Yeah,
Ask
she is
him,
like Oprah.
Ask him if there is a way to, oh God.
Yeah.
If there's a window that he
Right.
tries to keep closed but could open at any time,
Right.
through which would pour the darkest times of his life.
Yes.
Where is that window in his soul? And do we think if we went outside and just looked, what's outside? What would be outside that window right
These are
now?
such great questions.
It's a great answer.
Yeah, that's enough.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
That's actually enough. So actually, what's next for you? Just so people, I can let them know, because you're putting out an EP, right?
I took a picture of a guy passed out, obviously in a hangover, outside of Gelson's supermarket about 6 months ago, and it was on a Sunday. It was like at 1:30. Big fat dude, and he's splayed out. He looked like he was dead, but I checked to make sure he wasn't because I'd taken a picture through my windshield. And the picture was so good. I don't know if I have it on my phone, but I thought, all right, I'll put an EP out. That's pretty good, you know. And I have
So wait,
because I have some recordings.
that inspired you to put an EP out?
Yeah, like I did last year I did a song for that show Banshee. It's on Cinemax, super violent show. I did a re-record of Madonna, like an octave down, and then I did another song that's not going to be on it. And I had done a song for the last season of House, that TV show. It's like an original song. So I have a couple songs that are like, laying around. I didn't know where to find them. And the truth is that I had, I just go in slow motion now. I was trying to tell you, part of what happens when you fade away is you can disappear, and especially in Southern California, you don't realize the time's not going by. There's no seasons. So it may be 2 years ago now is the last time I talked to the French label, and they were like, yeah, we'd like to do another record. We'd really like to do something. And I thought, all right, I'm going to do a record. And I sent them some demos, and they said, well, we don't really want like an acoustic songwriter record. We feel like that's really done. We'd almost need like a new sound.
Right.
I thought, wow, where am I going to go with a new sound? So while I'm trying to find that very slowly.
Do you have someone in mind to produce that?
No, I don't. But while I'm trying to figure what that would be, and also really just trying to pay the bills, I thought, well, what I should do is get some of these acoustic songs and get them out the door, because that's how I look at this now. It's like this song I used to really have a lot of feeling for this song, this monster song, and I mean I still like it, but it was like important to me to record it well, get it done, and now it's out of I don't think about it anymore. So this new EP has like 3 old songs and 3 re-records, and it's pretty, and I think we're going to put it on vinyl, and I'll probably, I don't know, sign to something. I got to find a way to charge $20 for it to make it pay for itself. So,
and then
it's a lot, right? For vinyl, $20 is that a lot for 6 songs?
Yeah,
for 6 songs, that's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
Is 15 for vinyl?
10 tops.
10 for vinyl?
Oh, for vinyl. Oh,
I
yeah,
gotta print
probably
vinyl, dude.
probably 15. Yeah, vinyl's cool.
It's gonna cost money.
So what?
Anyways, that's what's next. I'm gonna put that out.
And how do people find it? How will they find you?
Well, you'll have probably done a significant amount of editing to this podcast by then, and it'll feel like a charismatic and exciting thing to be part of.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll edit it, but it won't sound charismatic.
Madonna. And I think...
We're just going to put some pipe organ.
And so, dude, what's next? I was just so excited to get a call from you, man.
I love it. I love you, and I want to know.
Thank you, man.
But seriously, how do people get in touch with you? How will they know about your EP? Do you have websites? And
I got off social
Instagram and
networking because
Twitter
it was
and stuff?
I was doing that stuff, and it was a little difficult. So I got off that stuff. My website I let lapse, and then someone turned it back on. So I don't know who's controlling that now. It's...
Is it just Jude.com? Like, what is it?
It was Jude Music or JudeCrystal.com, something like that.
So you don't even know?
No, I know that it is those. I think both of those feed to it, but I don't know. I've got to find out some old friend or fan has. I got to find out who has it, and I'm not trying to be coy. I mean, I have a company that makes music for reality shows and Underscore and does TV stuff, and I'm doing a couple of things for Nickelodeon right now, and that's how I make. I scrape by is we make music for TV. So that's usually the focus. And as far as like a career focus, I don't have a career focus right now. I just want to get the CP out and then see if I can come up with some other stuff. And, that's it.
Great. And then hopefully by then you'll have an Instagram account and you'll send pictures of people that are out cold in front of Gelson's.
I did put that up on Instagram at some point.
Oh, you did?
I think.
What's your Instagram name? But you don't really visit it anymore?
No, but it's called, I don't know.
At Gelson's?
I think it's MJude1983. Dude, I'm not savvy. This is not my world.
MJude1983?
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
we're just going to find it. And
I'm
then
not a Twitter guy. I don't
do
like
the
that.
intro and the outro of this,
You'll feed it.
I'll
give you the
that.
stuff.
Because
and,
then when you put the EP out, people will want to find a way to get it.
I've reactivated my Facebook account so it's there because I got to let people know about this EP.
Okay,
and
what's
stuff.
your Facebook?
It's just Jude Crystal.
Okay, great.
And I'm easy to find. And these things are funny because you emotionally spend yourself talking like this, and then now it's like I don't want you guys to leave my house. It's going to be a little sad.
Well, we're going to leave,
So-
and we're going to take some shit with us.
I'll stay. Can I
Yeah.
shower?
Yeah. I got several showers here.
Great.
You even talked about my crazy '80s pad.
I love
Sad.
this. This is a weird place. We should take some pictures. I'm going to need to take some pictures with you anyway. But thanks
right.
so much, Jude, for doing
Dude,
this.
it's an honor for me to be included in your podcast. It's way beyond my merit, but thank you.
Anyway, I'm thinking that the world is going to know a lot more about you soon, not just through this, or not even through this.
Is there another plan?
But through what you're doing. So that's it.
All right,
Peace
guys.
out from.
Thank you. Thanks for
wherever
playing,
we
man.
are. Silver
It was
Lake.
killer.
Great song.
You're welcome.
That was Jude, and his website is judemusic.com. For now, that's the only place that you can find him online, but you can find his records on iTunes and all the streaming music services out there. You can find us at all the places we post: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can go to Patcast Podcast and patcast.com. So if you want, you can go to Twitter and Instagram at Patcast Podcast, and if you just want to go to the website, that's patcast.com. We'll be back with you next week, and we have some stuff coming up that we're really excited about in the next few weeks, so stay tuned. We're going to go out this week with a song Pergo was so excited that Jude was a part of writing that he insisted that Jude send him this so he could end the podcast with this particular song. And I don't know. I don't know why Pergo has become so demanding in his old age, but he is. And so here it is from the show Lost by the fake band Driveshaft. It's You All Everybody. You All Everybody on the Patcast.